Welcome, Mr. Professor Ramakrishnan. Thank you so much for being a part in the species movement at Atria.
Thanks for the invitation.
Your diverse interest from neuroscience to language engineering are truly fascinating. Can you tell us a bit about your journey? How these interests came to be and how they intersect in your current research?
Yeah, so initially I did biomedical engineering in PhD in IIT Madras. So when I came and started, I got a position in electrical engineering. Those days there was no separately biomedical engineering, and there was not much interest in the students. So I started moving towards other areas like signal processing, image processing, and so on. My initial PhD students came from that. And also it so happened that whenever I applied for funding, biomedical engineering, I didn't get any funding. Then there was this Ministry of Information Technology, they had this thing about PPP model, that is private public funding model, to develop language technology in terms of OCR, handwriting recognition, text to speech, and so on. I applied, I got crores, and I became the chief of, there are some 10 institutions across India who were participating in that, including CDAC Pune, CDAC Noida, and IIT Madras, IIIT Hyderabad, multiple institutions, ISI, and so on. So, see, once there is so much money, then you are totally occupied, and then I had to forget about biomedical engineering. So we focused on that, and that's how this work came about. We came up with the best OCR for Kannada. We have published in ACM, and we at that point we showed that it is better than Google's Tesseract. Wow. And one of my students has started a startup, and with that Karnataka, Tamil being my mother tongue, whatever we did both for Kannada and Tamil. So that led us to those awards and so on. And then recently, some time back, the Center for Neuroscience started in iisc. So now I saw that there is a lot of interest in neuroscience, and when I saw, it's like, old wine in new bottle. My biomedical engineering is now being called neuroscience. That also comes as there are other things. So I went back, and I was fortunate to get 2-3 very good students, and that's how I got into this thing. And now I am also a associate faculty in the Center for Neuroscience. Wow. So we have been looking at what I call the non-ordinary states of consciousness. See, when you are waking, when we are talking like this, there is a certain level of consciousness. When we deep sleep, there is a different level of consciousness. When we dream, there is another level of consciousness, because you can remember what happened. And when I do meditation, people think that you go to a different level of consciousness. Or hypnosis, you are under the control of somebody else. So we have collected EEG data under all these conditions. Also different types of pranayam. So we have analyzed that.
Great. Looking at your profile, I have seen your work on decoding of imagined words. We are curious to understand more about this concept. How do you see this research influencing the way we understand and possibly facilitate human-computer interaction in future?
Yeah, honestly, I feel it's a long way to go. See, this imagined words is a common thing. One of my friends says that, the only difference between us and the man people is all of us keep talking inside. Okay. But when the man person talks, you are able to hear. But when we talk, others don't hear. So that's all the imagined speech. You talk, but you don't vocalize that. So the idea is, if somebody is disabled to the level of all the muscles are inactive, including the vocal muscle, the articulators, then the question is, if they are thinking of something, can we capture it through analyzing the EEG? So people call it imagined speech, but I force my student to write it as imagined words, because speech is quite far off. Right now, all they are doing is 1 out of 10 words maximum. So, and in fact, we recently started recording just the vowels and what I call continual sounds like all of that sounds which can be prolonged for a moment. Can I get that? And if you have one out of 10, you can decode, and then you can use that to communicate. You can use that to operate some light or whatever, vehicle or something. So that's the whole idea. So it's both human to computer communication is possible, human to other humans communication. If I am not able to use my articulators, how do I communicate to you? It's possible. That's the idea.
So many of your works have received a recognition, and I believe that many of those works have made significant contribution to human-centered artificial intelligence applications. So, drawing from your experience in these projects, could you share your thoughts on the application of neuroscience and artificial intelligence and technology such as you have used recently in understanding animal cognition and behavior, and how these insights could potentially aid in wildlife conservation efforts?
Very much, because in fact, if you look at the current neuroscience experiments, most of them are on animals. In our own institute, even though I work on this meditation human this thing, because I don't have the capability and this thing to work on animals, there are other electrical engineers who are trained. They work on these monkeys. Wow. There is one professor who can actually operate on the monkey and put electrodes into the brain, close it, and then they give different type of experiments and look into what happens in the visual cortex of the monkey, and he has been publishing on that. And if even the other things, neural system of there is a fly called Drosophila. A lot of experiments have been done, and most of the neuroscience what we know is not obtained from human beings, because certain things cannot be easily studied. You can't just open somebody's brain and check, but most of it is known from the rats. For example, people say if you run, your new neurons are born in your hippocampus and your learning improves. It's purely from the rat experiments, not from human experiments, because we can't count the number of new cells in a human being, what I understand, unless you sacrifice this thing. So that can be only possible by animals.
It's a topic that I think yes, anyway, good to know that there are researches happening on that side also. These technologies are being used to understand other species.
And in National Australian University, one person is working on how the birds fly and how they get a sense of direction and velocity, all of that.
Oh, great.
So a lot of such things are going on.
Sir, as a founder and a mentor of tech startups, you have clearly taken academic research beyond the realm of theory. How do you envision these startups bridging the gap between academic research and real-world application, particularly in relation to artificial intelligence?
No startup is really interested in doing research. They are really interested in developing products. But the problem is when an academician starts a startup, he is really ill-equipped in terms of marketing, in terms of collecting money, in terms of managing people. That's the thing. So we need really, I'm not commenting on this thing, but government is definitely, compared to when I joined Indian Institute of Science, there is much more support for an academician to start a startup. But still it needs to go quite far. Because when I start a startup, I have to do all the things that I am originally doing, plus this. So it's not easy. So there should be I don't know what, because I am not an expert on that, but there should be sufficient support in terms of how to get money, how to get people, how to get management, because if I do all that, I can't do research and product development. So that is the thing. But whatever number of startups I have found, they are all interested in developing some products that will do something useful to the community only.
Great. So finally, wrapping up the conversation, Atria University's philosophy focuses on an interdisciplinary and inclusive approach to education. Based on your experience, how do you see this approach influencing the future generation of scientists and engineers? and their capacity to develop, groundbreaking solutions to global challenges.
It's a very good, very important approach. Like now, if you look at NEP, they have emphasized this. I think we have straitjacketed education too much. For example, since I was in biomedical engineering, you have separated engineering universities and you have separated medical universities completely. You put water tight sockets, and then you say collaborate. Whereas elsewhere in the US, if you see in the same university campus, you have medical school, you have engineering school, you have a computer science school, and students can see ultimately research is done by students. They have to be motivated, and if everything is in the same campus, I am an engineering student, I should be able to walk into a medical school and listen to your talk. A medical student should be able to walk in and listen to your talk. And constant communication and this thing, that is what important. And human being, we are a connected whole. You say I am a psychologist, I will not bother about engineering, but our body is a connected whole. I have a psyche, I have a health, I have certain other things, I also have to use tools. Everything is interconnected, and when you do simple breathing, it goes to all your 37.2 trillion cells in the body. Yeah. So every cell is being activated by this one breathing. So I can't say I only look at my breathing and I don't care about other organs of the body. Body already takes care. So this has to be this thing. There has to be specialization, and there has to be also certain orientation towards a generic thing. How I need to be a part of the world and the universe, and that is the whole thing about this ecocentric living. And I'm very happy that a private university has taken interest to this. I was really surprised. There are any number of well-fed, government institutions in India which have not taken this approach. So I was surprised when Nagesh called me and said that they are going to have this thing. So I wish well this university, and it's a learning process. Since it's a new thing, you will also learn what works and as you go along. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights and the time, sir. Definitely, we are looking forward to meet you again, and please be a part of all the other moments that we will be coordinating in future. Thank you so much for your time.